Morning, everyone. Memes tell the story, and quite often, 4chan is a place where memes are created. And here's a 4chan meme, and at the top it's got Trump, and he says, "I'll kill your bad guy for the small price of 176 innocent lives." And then it's got a guy with the Iran, who's supposed to be Iran, shooting a passenger jet, and then he turns to the camera and says, "Why would Trump do this?" And the memes are sometimes just so spot on. It's kind of funny because the media is trying to blame Trump, and I'll show you what I mean. But here's the National Post. And yesterday, Iran said, quote, "Iran to Canada and allies, if you think we shot down Flight 752, prove it." And in my video yesterday, I showed footage of Iran shooting down the passenger jet 752. So pretty easy to do. And then so today, actually it was last night, 10:52 p.m. or something to that effect. This was put out by CP24. Iran's president says Ukrainian jet unintentionally shot down, cites human error. The president of Iran says a military investigation has concluded that missiles fired due to human error caused the horrific crash of a Ukrainian plane and the deaths of 176 innocent people. Quote, "The Islamic Republic of Iran deeply regrets this disastrous mistake," Hassan Rouhani said late Friday in a post on Twitter. "My thoughts and prayers go to all the mourning families. I offer my sincerest condolences." Rouhani said investigations continue to, quote, "identify and prosecute this great tragedy and unforgivable mistake." A statement was also issued on the Twitter account of Javad Zarif, Iran's foreign minister. Quote, "A sad day. Preliminary conclusions of internal investigation by armed forces. Human error at time of crisis caused by U.S. adventurism led to disaster," reads the tweet. "Our profound regrets, apologies, and condolences to our people, to the families of all victims, and to other affected nations." The tweet contradicts a statement from Iran earlier Friday that strongly denied any responsibility for downing Flight 752 and instead blamed it on a fire in Boeing 737-800's engine. So Iran is admitting responsibility, and there's a statement from the Prime Minister as well. I'll just finish reading this first. Foreign Affairs Minister François-Philippe Champagne has said that the number of Canadian citizens believed to have been aboard the plane is 57, not 63 as initially provided by Ukrainian authorities. I scrolled down a little bit. The Canadian government is leading a group of nations that lost citizens in the Tehran plane crash to advocate with one single voice, Champagne said. The government is also creating a task force of top public servants to make sure Canadian families affected by the crash get support and information they need, Champagne added. The measures follow private conversations in Toronto between Trudeau and the families of the victims who died. The new international coordination and response group includes those countries with the exception of Iran and Germany, and Champagne indicated it will focus on sharing information and pressuring Iran to conduct a thorough investigation of the crash. Transparency is what the international community is looking for now, Champagne added. The world is watching what the Iranian government is doing now. Flight 752 went down shortly after Iran launched the missile strikes against the two bases, including one in the northern Iraqi city of Erbil, excuse me if I've got that wrong, where Canadian Special Forces soldiers have been operating for the past 5 years. And here's Trudeau's statement. This is from Katie Simpson's Twitter feed, and it says, "Following a briefing on tonight's developments, the Prime Minister issued the following statement. Tonight, Iran acknowledged that Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752 was shot down by its own armed forces. Our focus remains closure, accountability, transparency, and justice for the families and loved ones of the victims. This is a national tragedy, and all Canadians are mourning together. We will continue working with our partners around the world to ensure a complete and thorough investigation, and the Canadian government expects full cooperation from Iranian authorities." So interesting. Here's another perspective on this. This is Patrick Allen, and he says, "Just so I understand, when Iran fires missiles intentionally, they can't hit the broadside of a barn or a military base. But when they fire missiles accidentally, they can hit a speeding 737 in the air. I guess the laws of physics work differently in Iran." So interesting, right? Here is the link to the foreign minister's response, the full response, not just the little bit shared in the article there. And here is Spencer Fernando. He's a political commentator. He says, "Now that Iran has admitted responsibility, the IRGC must be designated as a terrorist organization and sanctions imposed on top Iranian regime officials. Full reparations to the families of those killed must also be demanded." Now, in 2016, Justin Trudeau repealed the sanctions on Iran, And the IRGC is designated as a terrorist organization in the United States. And the military arm of the Quds Force is designated as a terrorist organization in Canada, but not the whole IRGC. And last year, Parliament was unanimous in voting in favor of declaring the IRGC a terrorist organization, but that has not happened yet. Will that happen now? Who knows? I wanted to show you a little bit of history. Justin Trudeau's brother, and this is going back to 2012. His name is Alexander Trudeau. He is, or was, I'm not sure if he's still alive, probably. He is a filmmaker, and he made a film about Iran. And yesterday, my comments section filled up, and I'm going to show you with what. Well, I'm not going to show you my comments section, but I'm going to show you Alexander Trudeau's quote, and it sounds like comments from the comment section in my video yesterday. So anyway, here's from 2012. And this is about the movie, The New Great Game. And it was created by Justin Trudeau. And here we go. It says, in the face of international condemnation of Iran's destructive pursuit of nuclear weapons and its repeated calls for Israel's destruction, filmmaker Alexander Trudeau, son of the late Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, and senior advisor to his brother Justin's campaign team for leadership of the Liberal Party, reports that Iran's atomic ambitions are for defensive purposes only, serving as an effective deterrent against Israel's aggression and belligerence. That is at least the way Trudeau's framed the second installment of his three-part documentary aired on CBC's The National on October 14th. Entitled The New Great Game, CBC lauded Trudeau's film as a special documentary for The National, with the film's proprietors and distributors listing CBC and its French counterparts SRC as producers in association. Trudeau's point of view documentary was described as investigating how the movement of oil is shaping the new world order. In reality, the only thing special about this film was how it singled Israel out for its exclusive opprobrium, while downplaying the grievous threat that a nuclear Iran poses to the Jewish state, the US, and the world. Trudeau did not mince words when it came to presenting Israel as a bellicose, nuclear-armed threat, when he remarked, quote, while there is no proof that Iran has even made the decision to start a nuclear arms program, Israel's nuclear arsenal will largely outgun whatever weapons Iran might acquire. But from the vantage point of Iran, it is the one being threatened, not the one doing the threatening. Despite Trudeau's contentions, it's been recently reported that the UN Atomic Agency has received new and significant intelligence that Iran has moved further towards the ability to build a nuclear weapon. According to the Jerusalem Post, the IAEA has reported seeing, quote, activity at Iran's Parchman military site and apparent reference to suspected efforts by Iran to clean the site of any illicit operation. Trudeau also conveniently failed to mention that Iran continues to deny IAEA inspectors access to its nuclear sites. Now, in my comment section yesterday was a lot of quotes that sounded like this, and saying that the missiles didn't happen, or it didn't look like a missile. If it was a missile, the plane would have blown up in the air, and all sorts of stuff. And I have to remind everyone, I'm reporting what the news says, and I put a little color commentary here and there, but I generally don't come out and say the news is out and out lying. I mean, sometimes the news is out and out lying, but I kind of imply it. Right? And I expect you to go and read about it, right? It's not very often that I like point at it and say that's an out and out lie. And if I do, I'm like mad about things and saying like that specific thing is a lie. It's very rare that I say that all news is fake, because I think that there's elements of reality, but I mean, like, I talk about it a lot, the kabuki theater, the over-reporting, the under-reporting, the spin, all of that stuff plays into it. But I don't think that people are fabricating like if people are fabricating events, it's a false flag. Like, the event is real, something's happened, and they're reporting on it with a spin. That's what I think the fake news is, right? Like, so it's with regards to Israel and Iran, and like, these power games have been going on for a long time, and part of those power games are psychological warfare. So even this article, right? Like, this article has a lot of spin in it, and I expect the reader, the viewer, not necessarily to know that, because I point out the spin often, but I'm not saying necessarily that it's lying. I'm saying that there's spin. I'm saying they want you to believe this is more true or less true or something, right? In this case, this is a very pro-Israel article, right? So is that appropriate? I don't know. If you're pro-Iran, not so appropriate, right? So commenters in my comment section yesterday, apparently very pro-Iran, or maybe pro-Israel and saying Iran's lying. I don't know. But interesting stuff. If you want to read the new great game, you can read the transcript. Everything else is 404. Everything else just goes to a 404. Like it's really interesting. They talk about the producers, and they talk about they talk about Iranian producers, like Iranian state TV producers, like Press TV. So Iran's state-funded propaganda arm, Press TV, right? And they're co-producing this. Al Jazeera, Arabic, and I mean, like, not that that's not the point, but right? Okay, so 404 is all that. You can see the first 10 minutes here. You can read all of it. This is a 404, but it's archived of a shot-by-shot of 55 minutes of the documentary. If you're interested in that, link is in the description. And here's the last story for this morning, and I guess I'm kind of quick this morning. That's good. Laurie Goldstein, he says, U.S. should have warned Canada of plan to kill Iranian general, says government sources. So, yeah, except that I just thought these Twitter replies were spot on, right? Would you tell this guy a strategic military secret, right? Like, would you tell that guy? Maybe not, right? And it says, or these two, right? Like, and the guy beside Trudeau here just looks uncomfortable. He's like, that's the president of Canada. That's the president of Canada. And So anyway, I think that's kind of funny. Here's the article. And it says, U.S. should have warned Canada of plan to kill Iranian general, says government sources. And we're right back to the opening meme, right? How dare Trump do this? How could he? Canada should have been warned in advance by Americans of the U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to kill a high-ranking Iranian military general with a drone strike, say two senior government sources. Ottawa also wants more thorough explanation from the Trump administration of the thinking behind the attack, according to federal government sources with direct knowledge of the situation. CBC News spoke with the sources on condition of anonymity, as the individuals are not authorized to speak publicly. And so, isn't that interesting? Here's just some quick numbers of Barack Obama during his presidency. And tweet says, quote, Obama's first drone attack was 3 days on the job, killed 210 civilians. After 2 terms, 540 drone attacks, 3,797 deaths, 324 civilian deaths. Meaning of imminent threat and distinction between targeted and assassination also changed under President Obama. And this is in response to just watch Pompeo presser. Most media still unhappy we took out arguably the #1 terrorist in the world. Want more of an explanation. Obama, thousands of drone and bomb strikes, many killing civilians, never gave one shit. Now they care and they wonder why. So I think it's really interesting. Like, that's the kind of stuff the media bias is underreporting, or like the media gets their hair caught on fire about. It's really interesting. Obama can kill lots of civilians, no international incident. You kill an Iranian general who planned and executed attacks on U.S. targets, and you're the person who started the international incident? Really? It's just a wild way to interpret things, and that's the danger of the press, right? So interesting. And it turns people in a way, because it's not just the press, it's the popcorn discussion shows that happen too, right? Like things like The Social, if you're in Canada. It's on in the daytime, and elderly people sometimes leave the TV on for something to have in the background, and it just reinforces this rhetoric, this false narrative. And just by reporting on this type of angle, right? On how dare the U.S. have responded because it kicked off the rest of this stuff. Yet when a Democratic president unilaterally starts a drone war for the entire time that he's in power and kills civilians, not a peep. Everybody's okay. You know what? Give that guy a Nobel Peace Prize. Unbelievable, right? What a world we live in. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Check out CanadaPoly.com and also CanadaReport.co, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.